Ow! What? Oh, when I came to my senses, my head was laying on the desk. I was holding a pen in my right hand, as if I had fallen asleep without realizing it. A deep, deep dreamless sleep. No, maybe I did have a dream. My head was all muddled and confused. It was as if some puzzling, incomprehensible image was spinning over and over in my mind like a vortex. It was not the same as that feeling you get when you just wake up. It was a different feeling of confusion. In fact, if I had just woken up, it would be surprising my mind was clear. All I would feel is some slight tiredness. I wouldn't understand it too well, even if I thought about it. Anyway, I fell asleep and then woke up when I knocked my head on my desk. Huh? Is that a little strange? I was sleeping in the bed. I don't remember moving towards the desk at all. Now that I think about it, there is no desk in the cabin. Then what is this place? As I started to panic, I calmed myself down and scanned my surroundings, pondering. There was a bed, a desk, and a closet in the room. They were all very tidy and organized, giving up a clean, cozy feeling. But at the same time, they also somehow felt hollow and fake because of it. As if things like human warmth had been ripped out of them by roots. I finally understood. This is Fia. I looked at the back of my hand. Those hands are rugged and large, not like the hands which belonged to Fuyukawa. These hands look really hurt. Like, look at them. I transferred again, huh? I muttered as I let out a sigh. Suddenly I realized I had to pee. Stood up and opened the door to the unit bath near the exit of the room. Each room is equipped with not only a shower, but a toilet as well. I rubbed my sleepy eyes as I reached for my belt and froze. This is a man's body. So in order to relieve myself, that would mean, I looked down timidly. There was a strange feeling between my legs. Yeah, I wonder why. In other words, I have to use my hands and hold on to Oh my god. I have no other choice, because right now, my body is a man's. I'm just doing this in order to take care of my normal biological process, that's all. I'm not touching it for any weird reason or anything, I understood all that in my mind. But still! I burst out of the washroom and fell prostrate in the middle of the bedroom. Calm down, me. Calm down, me. Deep breath, take a deep breath. Maybe it was because I was just too shaken up, but I couldn't even take deep breaths. If I had paid more attention to myself, I would have noticed that it was almost as if I was giving birth. An uncomfortable feeling was radiating from my abdomen. The intense urge to pee was building there. Oh no. This keeps up, I won't be able to call myself an adult. I'm already 20 years old, a grown-up, an adult. As an adult. No, as a woman. And as a human being, I must not wet my pants. That's right, it's just going to the washroom, that's all. No big deal at all. I love this art style, by the way. Like, take a look at this. Wood carbuncle. What? What does that mean? No big deal at all. Crept back into the bathroom. What am I doing talking to myself? That question suddenly crossed my mind, but I pushed it back to the back of my head. Yeah, just do it like always. Just pull down your pants and sit on the toilet. Don't look down. Just do that and everything will be alright. I can do it. Cheering myself on, I lowered my pants just like I've always done. Just like normal trip to the bathroom, I took a seat on the... Once again, I burst out the washroom. Fell on my knees and hanging my head in the middle of the bedroom. I usually go to the washroom. I never had to do all this hard work just Oh my god, I'm dying from this. Men have to perform one extra step when they go to the bathroom. Kuroko is in the winter of her 20th year learned this valuable lesson. But I didn't need to know. I don't want to know. What should I do? Mentally prepare and go. I can't take it anymore. Writhing, I made my way towards the bathroom once again. If someone were to see me like this, I probably wouldn't even be able to get married, but I try not to think about it. If I even thought about it, I'd probably burst into tears. I made up my mind to lower myself to the toilet. So tired. Collapsed into the bed, completely exhausted. It's the first time in my life that I've gotten this worn out just going to the washroom. If this personality exchange keeps going from now on, then I might have no choice but to get used to this. But this is just too much for a young lady like me. There's no way I can get used to it this easily. Wait a second, so that means... I just realized something truly horrifying. The owner of the body I'm currently in other words, the personality of Yukidoh Satoru, is probably inside my body at the shelter cabin. So that means he has the freedom to do whatever he wants to my body. I shuddered all over at the thought of some man I've never met fooling around with my body. No! I groaned instinctively. Feeling somewhat irritated, I paced back and forth in the room like a caged animal. But I still couldn't seem to calm myself down. That's when I noticed the note that had been left on the table. I grabbed it and held it tightly in my hand. I'm not really sure if I should say nice to meet you or thanks for visiting again. I doubt I've ever known anyone that I've had this much trouble coming up with a greeting for. I'm Yukidoh Satoru. I think you've already noticed as well, but it looks like we're currently experiencing some kind of personality exchange. I don't know the exact reason for this. What I do know is that you're a woman named Fuyukawa Cocoro. It was a note from the owner of this body, Yukidoh Satoru. I plopped down in the bed and kept on reading. First thing I want to clear up is about your body. How do I say this? I'll be careful not to touch or look at anything unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't know what your impression is of me from when you saw my face, but I'm a gentleman, so please don't worry about that. These words, it was as if he saw right through my worries. I patted my chest in relief. I don't know if he really didn't look at touch my body, but he at least anticipated what I was worried about, so I can see he's someone who's concerned about me. That made me feel more at ease. I continued reading the note. Forgive me for jumping right into business, but I have a few things I must discuss with you. The first thing I want to do is make sure what's happening is really a personality exchange. From what I can tell, it seems that during the time my consciousness leaves your body, your consciousness takes my place within it. Likewise, whenever your consciousness leaves your body, my consciousness takes possession of it. As if we're two drivers alternating between two different cars. But I don't have any conclusive evidence that this is what's happening. Right now, all I have to go on are the words of the people around me. I heard that it's fear my body addressed itself as Fuyukawa Cocoro while I wasn't around. And then at the shelter cabin, Yamagi-san told me the owner of this body was someone named Fuyukawa Cocoro. So if we were to believe what they said, then we have no choice but to accept that your consciousness and mine are coming and going between each other's bodies. But, even though I know Fuyukawa Cocoro's face and voice, I haven't had a chance to communicate with your actual personality. If we use cars as the analogy, then I am familiar with Fuyukawa Cocoro, the car, but I have yet to meet you, the driver within. I won't beat around the bush. The point is, I have my doubts that this personality called Fuyukawa Cocoro really exists. So I was hoping you would leave some kind of evidence behind that proves you actually do exist. Since we can't talk to each other directly, can you at least write down some kind of reply on the paper? Anything will do. Just leave some evidence behind that the Fuyukawa Cocoro personality controlling my body exists. I forgot which voice I gave this guy to begin with at the start. So I'm just giving him like my normal voice, but a little off. Anything will do, just leave some evidence behind that Fuyukawa Cocoro personality controlling my body exists. Also, if you can, I'd like you to record this time. The time I'm interested in is the time that you took over my body. From this, we can determine whether the transfer of consciousness happens at a fixed schedule or if it occurs randomly. If we could figure out some kind of pattern to it, then wouldn't it be more convenient for both of us? We'd be able to realize when there's one more minute until the transfer and finish up whatever we need to do by then. But if it happens at random, well, we'll figure something out if and when that turns out to be the case. Even realizing that the transfers are happening at random is a step forward, right? Right. It reminds me, I forgot to write down something important. The truth is maybe my body would be more accurate. Truth is my body is... Oh, he probably switched right as he was writing that. Is that it? I turned the paper around. The back was completely blank. That was the end of the note. What was he thinking? Jeez. I slammed my hand down at the table. What is that with that my body is? Wouldn't end in the note? Wouldn't the note at a place like that just make me even more anxious? Is he an idiot? Jeez. It really was something really important, then write it down at the beginning of the note. We don't even know what the next personality exchanges will happen. I went silent with those words as I stared at the note. So that's why. The note was probably unfinished because the personality exchange occurred while he was still writing it. And so, I read over the note once again. He started the letter off with his concerns about me, and he kindly tries to ease my worries before continuing on to more important matters. Thanks to that, the creepy feeling I had about him a few moments ago disappeared. To initiate contact with his character named Satoru, whom I knew absolutely nothing about. I'm glad he seems to be someone I can count on. Personality exchange isn't usually a situation that people have to consider, but it has indeed happened. If my partner in this had been a wimp who only freaked out and went, "What do I do? What do I do?" then we really would have no chance of making it out. But he doesn't seem like someone who would do that, at least for now. I looked at the note and scribed with his logical words. My fingers are traced in neat, organized handwriting. I can indeed feel a sense of partnership from it. Partners, huh? Satoru is going through the same unexplainable circumstances as I am. I have a friend who would do... what? I have a friend who would do his best no matter what he's up against. Alright then. I gathered up my willpower and jumped to my feet with energy. Just the thought having a friend with me is more encouraging and reassuring than anything else. I could even feel a bit, just a tiny bit of courage building up inside me. Oh no! I forgot. Satoru's note asked me to write down the time. I glanced at the alarm clock sitting on the bedside table. The hands coated with fluorescent paint pointed at 1:17. It's already past noon. Did I ever sleep? I was overwhelmed by a lot of things that happened yesterday, but nonetheless, I slept for way too long last night. That was really just too shameless of me. No way! I shook my head in a hurry as Lynn's annoying smile appeared in my head. Now, how about how long it has been since I woke up? So the time it took me to go to the washroom and read the note was about, I think it was about 10 minutes. There was a pen lying on the table. I turned the note over and wrote on the other side of it. The transfer happened at 1:07 PM. I have to write a response to his note, but I put the pen down for now. Maybe it's because I felt relieved, but I suddenly felt absolutely famished. My stomach rumbled. Do all guys' stomachs make such a loud noise? I muttered as I headed towards the kitchen to find something to eat. I mean, I can't just leave my partner starving like this. Breakfast is good for you. Yeah. Oh, Yukidoh-kun, I was just about to come get you. I bumped into Utsumi as soon as I left the room. Gave her a slight bow. Good morning, well, I guess it's already afternoon. Well, everyone got up pretty late. Come on. Everyone got up pretty late, so we're just about to have breakfast. And I gave her a slight smile after pausing for a moment. Utsumi's eyes narrowed, as if she was looking at a child who had just gotten a skin knee. Her expression held a mixture of sadness and affection. Is that so? I thought I overslept. She looked like she had something she wanted to say, but she smiled. You're starving, right? Yeah, I'm famished. Let's eat together then, Fuyukawa-san. Thank you. She already knew, because she called me Yukidoh then, but I'm guessing it's the way I act, like the way Cocoro acted, that she realized it was Fuyukawa. She nodded and headed towards the dining hall. I too followed behind. Sumi addressed me as Fuyukawa Cocoro. She probably thinks that the other personality named Fuyukawa Cocoro surfaced. To acknowledge the existence of another personality and accept it like everything was normal, that's not something that can be easily done. She does seem to be very well versed in psychology, but for some reason that doesn't feel like it's the only reason. An aura of true benevolence, or perhaps an air of an all-accepting kindness. That's the kind of impression you get from her. Hello, Satoru! Uni, who was already at the table, gave me a friendly smile. The frightened look he had just yesterday disappeared. Besides Uni was Hattori, who also gave me a quick bow when she saw me. Every time I see her, my heart starts to beat. Starts a bit. Still feels like Inabushi Kaiko is right here in front of me. But it seems her personality is settled on that of Suzukage Hattori for now. Inabushi Kaiko is nowhere to be seen. It would be too cruel to treat Hattori like a ruthless murderer. I greeted them with a smile to conceal my thoughts. Good morning, you two. I too sat down at the dining table. Hey, so what were you doing now? Just now? What's he talking about? Yeah, just now. You went out from the terrace, right? So what were you doing? That must be something Satoru's done. While I was still asleep in the shelter cabin, Satoru and I had woken up here at Sphere and had done something. And of course, there's no way I would know about it. It's a secret. Oh, come on, tell me. Nope. Stingy. Uni-kun, you shouldn't talk like that. Oh, whoops, I think I clicked the game. We each have our own private thoughts to deal with, right? Huh. Even though he's complaining, Uni doesn't seem to care at all that much. Carly, I'm starving! Yes, just hold on a bit longer. Uni's attention has long since shifted to his stomach. Here we go, enjoy! Itsumi brought the meal out of a tray. On the menu was toast, bacon and eggs, and tuna salad. Ooh. The savory aroma of the toast rose to our noses and made our stomachs groan in hunger. Ooh, make sure you eat plenty, okay? The four of us stared and started our late breakfast. According to the clock, it should be considered lunch already, but let's not worry about such details. It's so good, Carly! Tori nodded enthusiastically at Uni's compliment. It was a flawless Western breakfast. Itsumi really has some skills. The food was absolutely delicious. Perfectly brown toast, soft-boiled eggs that melt in your mouth, and a big serving of tuna salad. Where is the tuna salad? Oh, it's in those bowls. Okay. With a breakfast like this, one can't help but feel happy. I like this table. It has those circle things for the plates and stuff. I like tables that do that. Thank you. Thank you, but make sure you chew your food properly, okay? Itsumi said gently to Uni as he stuffed his face with food. When Tori heard that, she nodded as if she had made up her mind about something. She chewed her food with a really serious look on her face. She just looked so cute I couldn't help but smile. Whoops. Hattori looked confused by my reaction. The Hattori personality seems to be the type that doesn't betray emotions easily, but inwardly she seems like a good person. There's more, so just let me know if you want seconds, okay? Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. I thought Satori talking for a second. I'm like, what? Who's this? And then I realized the name. Saying that, Itsumi pointed at the bowl of my tuna salad and did you leave all the cucumbers? About that, I'm sorry, I don't really like cucumbers. Why, they're delicious. Uni reached into my bowl and nonchalantly stuffed the cucumbers into his mouth. It has sort of a weird taste, don't you think? That's why I don't like it. Sorry for leaving them. If you don't like them, you could have just told me. You could have just told me. So you don't like pumpkin or cucumbers, right? I don't dislike pumpkins, but you... Sumi had an amazed look on her face, but then suddenly nodded as if she understood. Fuyukawa doesn't like cucumbers and Yukidoh-kun doesn't like pumpkins. They say that with DID, taste and preference can also change. Uni had a complicated look on his face when he heard that. Right now, the Cocoro personality's inside? That's right. She looked like he wanted to say something, but he bit into the toast as if trying to stop himself. Even though he didn't reject me entirely, he's probably still not willing to accept that there's a personality called Cocoro inside Satoru's body. Do you have anything else you don't like? If you did tell me, I'll try not to use it. Let's see, I absolutely can't take things like pineapple and sweet and sour pork. When she heard my answer, Hattori nodded with a look of agreement on her face. Itsumi smiled and said, because Japanese cooking doesn't usually involve cooking fruit, it surprises people, right? That's right. Other than that, I'm okay with anything. Got it. Just like that, we finished our breakfast. That was cool. I thought about things as I had my coffee after breakfast. What's happening in the shelter cabinet right now? I was able to feel myself with such a delicious breakfast, and drink a cup of coffee after the meal in his comfortable heated room. The people I'm here with are all kind people too. Even though it would be a different story if the Inabushi Kaiko character ever emerged, it would be an exaggeration to say this is a really peaceful place. On the other hand, they're trapped by an intense blizzard on the frigid mountain. They? Making that sound like someone else's problem caused a cold chill to run through my body. It's not someone else's problem. This is the reality, and even now the disaster that happened in the mountains is still affecting the body of Fuyukawa. Perhaps at this very moment Fuyukawa's body is crumbling away. I should think of it as an urgent of a situation. What am I doing? I could just kick myself. This isn't the time to be relaxing and drinking coffee. Is there a phone here? If I get a hold of a phone, I can contact a rescue team and let them know about the survivors. There was a sign outside the shelter cabin that said Mount Akakura Emergency Shelter Cabin. It's probably a public facility. So then the mountain rescue team should know exactly where it is. Is she not going to connect the fact that Uni's here, though? But Itsumi and Hatoro just looked at each other. We have a phone here. Huh? Not even a cell phone? Not even a cell phone? Never mind cell phones, there isn't any way to contact others from here. How can that be? I stood up unintentionally. This is fear. It's not only a public medical center, but also a self-support facility. I don't have any way to contact the outside world is... How about that? The computer's sitting right there. Itsumi shook her head. It's not physically connected to the outside. Not connected to the outside? Then where is it connected to? I am not too certain of that myself. Does she mean there's only a LAN set up here in Sphere? I already know what LAN means. It's basically like a central network. It's not connected to the global area. It's just connected to a small area around the house. In a better way of explaining. It's just local. Which is what it means. Local something network. Local area network or something. But this is already more than 10 years into the 21st century. It's hard to believe there's still a computer that's not connected to the internet. Just the living area. PC was there. No, PC isn't quite accurate. One has a keyboard and mouse with her. The board of the computer is nowhere to be seen, and the wires gradually disappear into the direction of the bed. I gripped the mouse and shook it. PC, which entered standby mode, resumed his breathing. Tell me it's a joke. Silently praying, I clicked on the icon to check network settings. It's alive, right? It was access to the Sphere's internal LAN, but it didn't connect into anywhere outside of it. Just to be sure, I opened the browser window, but it wasn't connected to the internet. The area could not establish connection was displayed on the screen. Itsumi and Hatoro had come over and stood beside me. I turned around and screamed. Is there any other way to get in touch with the outside? I'm afraid not. There is a cargo ship that periodically visits the place, so you can send letters that way, but... When will it come? Probably in about a month. No way! The mouse slipped from my hand. It looked like a hanged rat. It swung like a pendulum from the side of the desk. Why do you need to contact someone? To report to the police that we're up in the shelter cabin. I closed my mouth in the middle of the phrase. To explain the situation, I would have to tell them everything about Cocoro, who was in the shelter cabin after the plane crash, and about the personality exchanges. Oh, is Uni going to hear what she said and get confused? Would they believe it? It makes me a touch anxious. Please don't be too shocked about what I'm about to tell you. Explain the personality exchanges. I see. After my explanation, we finished. Itsumi hugged me. She pulls my head to her breast. She believed me, I thought. But this is a memory that dwells on you, Fuyukawa, right? I raised my head. No, my real body is stranded up on the mountain, This is an illusion created by the personality called Fuyukawa. The case is rather strange, though. Usually in cases of DID, the existence of the other personality is unknown to the main personality. However, in rare cases, one personality would notice the presence of other personalities. In such a case, the alternate personality refuses to accept the dominant personality and tries to kill it. The personality called Fuyukawa that was born inside of Yukidoh-kun couldn't accept that it was an alternate personality. She dreamt of the illusion of that personality exchange, claiming that she is the dominant personality and has a body. It's wrong, I really exist. I'm a Mount Akakura. That's right, because that personality Fuyukawa was made by Yukidoh, couldn't reproduce the Fuyukawa's son who died in the plane crash. Claiming that her body is on Mount Akakura, isn't that surprising? No, it's not like that. I bit on my lip. She didn't believe me. Itsumi seemed like an expert in psychology. Of course, Itsumi's explanation is much more believable than something unrealistic like a personality exchange. Atori-chan. I glanced hopefully at Atori. She shook her head, her face slightly pale. Atori also doesn't believe me. And then I noticed. Won't Uni believe me? He experienced the crash together with me. Surely if I can make him believe that inside of Yukidoh's Satoru dwells another personality, Fuyukawa Cocoro, then maybe he will believe the personality exchange occurred. Where's Uni? I think he went into his room. Thanks for hearing me out. Even if you don't believe me right now, it is the truth. Fuyukawa-san. I left the living area. Looking for Uni, I went over to his room. I haven't noticed any signs of Uni's presence in the room. Where did he go, I wonder? I peeked into the living area and the underground storage area, but I couldn't find Uni. As a last resort, I returned to Satoru's room. Why is that kid out of town like this? Maybe the me at the shelter cabin is in danger at this moment. Mumbling meaningless words, I heaved a sigh. I felt that he was acting strange yesterday, but if I think about it again, it's no wonder. Doesn't Uni exist in both places, both Sphere and the shelter cabin? Moreover, when I met the Uni at Sphere, even though this is a strange way of referring to him, for the first time he said that he vividly remembered the crash. That means that the Unis in both places have that memory. Just what does that mean? It was so hard to breathe, as if I was up to my neck at some kind of Maya. What was engulfing me was a Maya called Enigma. Pull yourself together, Cocoro. I should try to sort out my thoughts. I sat on the bed, started to lay out the problematic points one by one. First problem, number 1. Regarding the real situation of the personality exchange phenomenon. According to the note, I consider the existence of this body's personality, Yukidoh Sota, Satoru, affirmed. This is the proof that suggests the personality exchange is really going on. But why the personality exchange occurred, the reason for it, the principle behind it, and the way to break free from this phenomenon, I don't have the slightest idea about any of them. Personality exchange, those are really simple words, but behind them, there is a very deep mystery. And the second problem, why are there 2 Unis? Both the shelter cabin and Sphere I've seen Unis in both places, and both of them possess the memory of the crash. I've noticed that due to the personality exchange, my personality seems to be jumping back and forth between these 2 points. But isn't this a big mystery as well? I have 2 hypotheses. First, maybe they're twins. But even if they're identical twins, how likely is it for them to have both their family and given names be the same? Second hypothesis. One of them is a copy of the other. I love how she's not thinking about different years, which is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is like a lady year. It's the same Uni, but Uni gets saved, and he gets into like a traumatic thing after the shelter cabin. I'm thinking, and that's why he gets taken here, so he can get treated psychologically for it. And that's why he's here. And so Cocoro's actually, what do you call it? Personality exchanging with Satoru, who's a few years in the future. Maybe. So I think this game's going to go into maybe something will happen to Cocoro. And so the Uni in this timeline saw what happened to Cocoro, like she died maybe, and it messed him up. And maybe we're going to try to avoid dying? Maybe? I don't know. I did hear there's like 33 endings for this game, so yeah. And only 4 of them are proper. Second hypothesis, one of them is a copy of the other, in other words, a clone. The law on cloning was passed in this country last year, in 2010. There's a law on cloning? What? Wait, where is it? Law on cloning. What? Where is it? So why are there more question marks for some of them, but not all the others? Makes me curious. Cloning and laws of cloning. Okay. The bodies of all living things are derived from biological blueprints called genes, DNA. The methods used to analyze and manipulate the information stored in genes, recombination synthesis, and other similar technologies are collectively classified under the umbrella term of genetic engineering. Currently, the technology enjoying the limelight in the field of genetic engineering is cloning technology. The term cloned is from biology and refers to a life form produced through asexual reproduction whose cells are perfectly genetically identical to those of its parents. Those born from this technology are called human clones. As an aside, the word clone is derived from the Greek word klon, meaning twig. In 1997, the birth in England of the world's first somatic cell clone, a sheep named Dolly, was announced. Successful creation of Dolly shed new light on the potentials of genetic engineering. Okay, so what was the newest article that was added? However, there were opinions as to exactly what number of successful produced clones students amount to, if any. Remains uncertain. Finally, we shall introduce a certain person who had global influence in the field of genetic engineering. He is Japan's Professor Marino Shingezo. Since the later part of the 20th century, Professor Mariner has taken part in the International Human Genome Project, where he had been credited with the discovery of a groundbreaking method for analyzing the sequence of DNA. Furthermore, the professor himself is known to have been creating human clones. Okay. I'm not going to read that all because it's like 13 pages, but yeah. Before that, cloning had been banned outright on the basis of ethics, but this law was then drafted. There have been several issues surrounding cloning, but it looks like they have finally been resolved, but a small number of clones may have integrated themselves into our society before the law was established. So it wouldn't be much of a surprise if Uni was a clone. And there was no telling what a clone will do when he's confronted with the fact that he's a copy of the original. And there's a sphere, a special psychiatric isolation facility. Could it be that Uni... No, wait, it's too early to reach a conclusion like that. You should confirm on all this with Uni himself later. Third, why does the newspaper article mention the shelter cabin? The newspaper article describing our deaths and placed inside the cabin can't be explained by conventional logic at all. And the fourth problem, what is the real purpose behind this facility? Hinabushi Kaiko, even though the present personality is Suzukage Hattori, has been placed under the house arrest here, so this is probably Sphere, the location I was heading to. But Satoru and Uni are here too, plus there are only 4 people here altogether, which makes no sense. This should be a medical facility that accepts psychiatric patients. What if this is actually a prison? Now, keep in mind here, before the personality switch, Satoru, I'm guessing he was fine? I'm guessing there was nothing wrong with him, because Itsumi and stuff was pretty confused about this at first, so I'm guessing it's never happened before. Meaning there was nothing wrong with Satoru, as far as we know. Uni, the only thing that could be wrong with him, could possibly be, what do you call it, trauma from the plane crash and Cocoro, whatever other stuff. But is that really enough to put him into Sphere? But then there's Kaido, who has DID. Like, trauma is different to a mental thing. For the trauma that Uni's going through, I don't think Sphere would be a great place for him. Because that seems more like you're trying to take care of those people who are in need, but Uni's not the type of person who really needs to be taken care of. He's more like, he does need to care for, but not in the same ways that a person with DID needs. If that makes sense. That's what it feels like to me. But it would make more sense if this place was actually a building in the middle of nowhere, which is what it seems like because there's a huge snowstorm outside. So if Kaido does escape, it will be hard for her to get out. That's what I'm thinking. Now, one thing that's bothering me is when you first wake up, when Kuroko first wakes up, as Satoru, Tsumi says she's going along with a certain plan of hers. So I'm wondering what that plan is. There should be a medical facility that accepts psychiatric patients. There should be doctors and other stuff here too. Plus, even if this place is meant to be a self-supporting facility, the level of freedom given to those committed here is much too high. Inabushi Kaiko is a murderous monster who killed 12 innocent people. Even if she isn't being restrained whatsoever, any cooking utensil could turn into a deadly weapon in her hands. It's just too dangerous. Anyway, you look at it, the facility seems strange. I was at my wit's end. There are too many mysteries to think about alone. I have a mountain of different things to consider. Feels like I'm being squashed under the mountain. That's right. I'd forgotten about an important thing. Don't I have a valuable partner in all this? I have to reply to this note. Alright, do we get the choice? I don't think we'll get a choice. Because I think we get to play as Satoru later on. And if we did get the choice of what to write, we already know what Satoru writes, so it's not like we can make a choice on that. I rushed to the table and picked up the pen with my left hand. I also have to ask about the continuation of the phrase, my body is, that Satoru left finished. I braced myself and faced the blank sheet of the note. Only a single line, transfer, 1:07 PM was scribbled on it. Where should I start? Just as I thought, I flopped down onto the table. Of course, it would be best to start with a greeting. However, I don't like that kind of formality. I thought of something good. Good idea. Why don't I make a cute little drawing? In that case, it should do something feminine and ladylike that reflects me. I have confidence in my skills. I may not look like it, but I wanted to be an illustrator when I was in elementary school. Well, what kind of drawing should I go with? Draw... a tulip. This will be a tulip that expresses the emotion of "Come on, spring." But wait, is the tulip a spring flower? I'm not quite sure, but this is just a drawing, so I can ignore such trivial things. If you say tulips, you think of the Netherlands. I admire the idyllic scenery even now. In particular, I've always loved the huge water wheels there. Without wasting any more time, I started the draw. Let's draw around, let's draw. Oh god. What is mutual understanding? Around? The pen had changed into a cup. Huh? What's this? Ow, hot! I was gripping a spoon in my right hand. In my left hand was an aluminum cup. Inside was a piping hot rice gruel with seasoning. Oh boy. Unable to comprehend the situation, my dumbfounded voice hung in the air. Aren't you going to eat? If you don't want it, then I'll eat up myself. From beside me, my cup was snatched away. Hold on! My gruel was snatched away by Izumi. I see, so another personality exchange happened. I'd returned to the shelter cabin again. The lodge adjoined with death, filled with the smell of burning firewood combined with a piece of cold. That's right. I remember the check the time on Satoru's note. I lifted my right arm in order to see my wristband watch, only to see that my beloved watch wasn't there. Huh? Oh yeah, Satoru doesn't like it on his wrist. I impatiently searched within my memory. It wasn't in my pocket. I wonder if I'd lost it. But when? I looked around and found my wristwatch in an unexpected place. It had been fastened with care to the bunk's bed ladder. Without understanding it at all, I remembered my wristwatch from the ladder. Why's my wristwatch over there? Did Satoru take it off and fasten it there? Why does he think they call it a wristwatch anyway? While complaining, I fixed the wristwatch back onto my wrist. The time was 1:40. As I smelled the fragrant scent of the rice gruel, my stomach growled. It feels like my stomach's completely empty. Even though I just ate breakfast the moment before, I was what I thought, but I realized that naturally that was wrong. The one that I ate for breakfast was Satoru's body, it wasn't my own. Resentfully, I looked in Meizumi's direction. It's your fault for not eating it fast enough. Oh, I just realized this, that Meizumi's the one next to Uni, and Cocoro's the one to the top right. I didn't actually realize that. I thought it was the opposite. We're in a laugh-or-death situation after all. Even so, don't just just take another's food. However, as if she was gulping it down, Meizumi finished eating the rest of the gruel. Too bad I ate it. I can't give it back now. God damn you, bitch. Jeez, it can't be helped. In an emergency situation like this, nothing's more dangerous than to start fighting over food. Why it's dangerous, I won't say, though. Morogi's face creased in a frown. From the expression alone, it was clear that what he wanted to say. Jeez, the only thing you put effort into is your gluttony, you old lady. You're the type that squeezed her butt into a small space just to be able to sit down on a train, aren't you? A bro like you should shut up in times like this. It's the shameless ones survive. Your body's shameless too, so you should think about going on a diet. What was that? Hey, don't go wasting the energy you finally built on such useless things. Saying that, Yamagi held his cup. It's already half-eaten, but do you want some? I'll share mine with you too. I held my hand up in refusal. I'm not that hungry, it's fine. In that case, Izumi made a grab for Uni's cup, but her hand was slapped away. If it's Lin asking, I won't give any. Ow, you stinky. Mizumi's greed makes me want to. Voice my objection. Izumi-san, why don't you just try making a little bit of compromise? Penal Code Article 37. To avoid imminent danger to oneself or others' life, body, freedom, or property. In the case of the level of harm the original danger would have caused not succeeded, there will be no punishment carried out against the party in question. However, if exceeded, the penalty may be lightened or otherwise accepted, depending on the circumstances. Ever heard of emergency measures? When you're about to die, it's okay to step over your partner, you know. Those are two completely different things, right? Unless we all help each other, we won't survive, right? Mizumi glared at me hatefully. The intensity of the glare made me flinch unintentionally. Just stop with the petty words. Pretty words. Why don't you admit you're pissed that someone took your food? What? Mizumi quickly stood up from the table and returned to the corner of the room. Seems that had become her territory. Slipping into the nest of blankets she'd built, Mizumi hugged her knees and was still. Don't worry about it. As if to comfort me, Yomogi placed these hands on my shoulders. Thus the meal, savage in comparison to those at Sphere, ended. Whoops.